Greetings, viewers. I have a very well-known pen here today. I seriously doubt that I'm going to basically be able to say too much about this pen that hasn't already been said, but what the heck, let's just go for it anyway. This, of course, is a Pilot Falcon. This is the plastic Falcon. They also make a metal Falcon, which is a much heavier pen made out of metal. Has a little more flexibility in terms of which converters can be used, but this is the plastic Falcon. So this is a pretty nice pen, very attractive looking in terms of your basic black pens as it goes. What we're dealing with here is an extremely conventionally sized pen. Here is our Pilot Falcon compared to a Lamy Safari and a Pilot Metropolitan. As you can see, it's right pretty much the same size as both of these. And again, this particular one is a pretty light pen, 20 grams, because it's pretty much all plastic. Has a little scroll work around the cap band, and it simply says Pilot Japan. Has what I consider to be a fantastic clip. I love the clip on this pen. It's very, very functional, very springy and nice, and has this nice sort of swooping effect, which I really, really like. The top of the pen is just a simple inset disc that's colored in the gold plating to match the rest of the pen. The end of the pen has a simple gold ring just off the end. It is a screw to uncap, and it takes 2 turns to uncap. It of course posts well, posts solidly, and is very, very comfortable either posted. Personally, I think it's a little short unposted. I'm really a poster. I like to post my pens, but your mileage may vary. Has a very nice section with 2 trim rings, one at the top, one at the bottom. It is a tapered section with maybe just the tiniest touch of flare at the end, but really not much so to speak of. Now we come to the nib, and this is really what people buy this pen for. A lot of people call this a flex nib. It is really not. This particular one is a 14 karat gold Pilot soft fine nib. So it says 14K585. It has Pilot. It says SF for soft fine, and then it has a 115, which is the date code for when the nib was made. So this nib was from January of 2015. And then it has a feed without any fins, but works quite well. This is a cartridge converter filled pen. Unfortunately, it uses Pilot cartridges and converters, and Pilot converters are just terrible. This is a Con 50 converter, which I don't believe they make anymore. It would be nice if you could use a Con 70, because that's actually a halfway decent converter. Unfortunately, the Con 70 does not fit in this particular pen, so you're stuck with either the Con 40 or the Con 50, neither which, or if you can get a Con 50, you're really stuck with a Con 40, I think, if you get a new one, which is really just an awful converter. This particular one has a little metal agitator inside it. They're just not good converters. They hard to get a complete fill on them sometimes. They don't really hold very much ink. Just not really worthy of the and commensurate with the overall quality of Pilot pens in general. And this is a very, very nice pen that writes really, really well, which is kind of a shame that they don't do a better job on the converter. So I'll get off the soapbox now, but in any case, that's basically where we are with Pilot, the state of Pilot and converters these days anyway. That's pretty much what we have to say about this pen. It's a basic black pen with a really cool nib. Like I said, this is sort of Falcon shaped nib, a little bit unusual shaped nib. A lot of people like it because of the line variation you can get out of it, which we'll see in a moment. You may ask, when would that moment occur? Well, I'm going to tell you. That moment is going to occur right now. Okay, folks, what we have here is a Pilot Falcon. And this has a 14 karat gold, what they call a SF, which is a soft, fine nib. And this writes quite well. So the thing about this pen is that it is definitely smooth. and it definitely has a great flow. It's probably, I'm going to say average wetness. It's not a gusher, but it's not dry either. But I generally am very pleased. This is a pen that I always enjoy writing with. Like when this is my pen of the day, so to speak, puts a little bit of an extra smile on my face because I always really have a great writing experience with this pen. But I think what you all probably want to see is what the flex and line variation situation is on this. So you can get a bit out of it, but you cannot push it too hard. But you can see it's not a crazy amount of line variation, but if you look at the width of the line there versus the width of the line there, it definitely exists, and there is variation to be had. You just have to be very careful about springing the nib. The feed can keep up. That's not the issue you're facing. You just want to make sure you don't spring the nib on this. But again, if you look at the line variation from there to there, it's not bad. It is really not bad at all. And again, this is the soft, fine version. If you got the firm version, then you'd be in for a very different situation. So this is not like a vintage flex nib by any means, and it's not really a flex nib even at all. But you can, like I said, like you see here, squeeze out some variation from it. In terms of reverse writing, it's actually quite good. It's probably one of the smoothest flowing pens in terms of reverse writing that I've ever used. I rarely do reverse writing on my pens, except this is one of the few examples when you do some reverse writing. It doesn't bother you very much. If you look at the line width, here's reverse, and here's not reverse. So you're talking a very subtle distinction, but it is there. Especially on this fine one. If you had a medium or a broad version, then the situation might be quite different. But there you go. So that is this pen. Again, this is a very well-known, very popular pen. I freely admit that there's probably for those of you who are fountain pen enthusiasts, the chances that you actually own this pen are probably quite high. And for those of you who don't own the pen, the chance that you've heard a lot about the pen from other sources is probably very high as well. This is as close to get to a famous pen as there is. So there we go with this pen. Let's talk about this ink a little bit now, shall we? So this ink, for a nice Pilot pen, I thought I'd use a nice Pilot made ink. So this is Iroshizuku Yu-Yake, which is sort of just I guess it's definitely an orange. What kind of orange is it? Well, I'm gonna say it's, if I had to pick, I'm gonna give it a tangerine. Not quite a peach. It's more of a tangerine, but it's just a very pretty color. This is a pretty fine pen. If you use it in a broader pen, you will definitely get some attractive shading out of it. If you look closely here, you can see some shading occurring even here. It's just a very pretty, nice shade of orange. Like all Iroshizuku inks, it comes in this very pretty glass bottle that looks very attractive on the desk with that nice little well at the bottom. If when the ink gets low, you can stick your pen all the way down. Also, like all Iroshizuku inks, I will give you the warning that I would not use this ink in a vintage sack-filled pen. I have had personal experience with Iroshizuku inks eating holes in vintage pens, so I no longer do that. So save this ink for your more modern pens, your cartridge converter pens, etc. I do recommend this ink because it's a nice ink. It just be careful where you use it, that's all. I've been doing a lot of writing with orange inks lately. I guess I've been going through an orange phase, so I'm going to be doing a video shortly where I'm going to review all the different shades of orange, because it occurred to me the other day I actually have quite a few of them, and many I haven't even done videos on yet. So that will be forthcoming. So that is about it, I think, for this video. As always, I thank you very, very much for watching. And as always, if you have questions, comments, etc., please leave them. Please, please, please subscribe. And please keep those thumbs up coming. And until we meet again, have a great day. Bye-bye.